The following is a production of Hometown and Home Country Radio Sports.
Bedford and the Lions down to their final strike. Can Bedford keep it alive? Trunk Hill trying to close it out for the Bulldogs. 3-2 Algona. 2-2 count, runner at second. Trunk Hill winds and delivers. Slow tapper towards shortstop, charged by Lentz. Picks it up, throws to first, in time, and the ball game is over. The Bulldogs get it done at Clear Lake, and the season will continue. As Reagan Haynes lead the batter, line drive right center field. That one's down for a base hit in front of Harvey. Here comes Burns around third. She'll come to the plate and score. She'll fly to center field. That one's hit hard, and it's over. Gibbs head to the wall. Bulldogs are going to take the lead. Here comes Haynes to score. Burns sliding to second base with a double. A clutch hit by Caitlin Burns, and the Bulldogs push in front 3-2. 2-2 counts, 2 outs. Thompson laboring here in the second. Fires to Busher. That's a gapper towards left center field. Racing over Schroeder. It's in the gap. 2 runs are going to score for the Bulldogs. On our way to second base is Busher. 3-0 Algona. First pitch to Lentz, blasted to deep left center field. Back it goes, and it's gone. We are tied. Maya Lentz homers to left center field. Her first career bomb for the Bulldogs, and boom goes the dynamite.
Video streaming on the Algona Radio YouTube channel is brought to you by Algona Municipal Utilities, community owned for community benefit. Kemna Auto Center, where it's not just about the car, it's about the care. Iowa State Bank, helping people succeed. PMC Advantage Insurance Services, having the advantage makes all the difference. And Algona Frame and Auto Body, we meet by accident. Now, here's Hometown and Home Country Radio Sports Director, Tyler Lance.
It's game 2 here for the Algona Bulldogs at the Ogden tournament as the Ogden Bulldogs take on the Algona Bulldogs here. Bulldogs dropping game number 1, 6-5 against Gilbert, and now Algona will try to get back on the winning track here this afternoon against Ogden. We are going to go right to that interview with Coach Van Otterloo. We're going to try to sneak it in, although I think they're going to start this game here relatively soon. So we'll play as much of that as we can, and then we'll get to the start of the game after this on Hometown Radio KLGA. We're talking right now with Algona Bulldogs softball coach Todd Van Otterloo. Coach, first of all, softball season finally here, so just take me through the team's off-season preparations and what has kind of led up to the season here.
Yeah, we got started back in January. The pitchers and catchers were able to start throwing in January, so they've been working hard since January. And then our hitters, and we've been doing that for we get 10 hitting dates. So we started that about February or so. And then we also got some defensive days. The girls union gave us 5 defensive days. So we were able to get 5 days in there. So we've been going pretty well since January, and our pitchers are working really hard. Our hitters are getting better each time. So it's good to see.
Coach, it felt like last year you had a young team, but it was a team that played a lot better in the second half of the year than the first half of the season. What did you feel some of the factors of that improvement were, and what do you want to see carry over into this season from that?
Yeah, we bring a lot of experience back. A lot of girls that have played a lot of softball. We lose 2 seniors in Ashley Cantu and Paige Valletta. So we'll replace them with some younger girls here. But, you know, I thought we got better as the season went on, and that's what we want to be doing. We want to be playing our best softball towards the end of the year. So it was encouraging to see that happen. I'm looking forward to this year. I think, you know, our strength's going to be our pitching staff. We have quite a few pitchers, obviously with Ryan Haynes back and Allison Trunkhill. Those two bring a lot of experience back. And then we also have Taylor Van Otterloo, Ellie Brinkley, Katie Trunkhill, and then Kinsey Till, just an 8th grader. Those pitchers have been doing really awesome this offseason.
Well, last year we saw a lot of Haynes and Trunkhill sharing innings. You mentioned some of the other arms that could play a factor this season as well. How do you sort of envision that divvying up, and how do you look at the different strengths that the pitchers bring to the staff?
Yeah, you're right. Ryan brings different, obviously, than Allison at times, you know, so having those two, you know, we're going to go with the hot hand. And if somebody's hot, we're going to stay with them. And it's kind of nice. Ryan has a lot of velocity and nice placement. And Allison has gotten a lot better, too, this offseason with her placement and her speed. So I'm really looking forward to watching those two compete this season.
And, Coach, like you said, a lot of exciting athletes returning to the team, and I think one that stands out is Maya Lentz. Felt like last year she was kind of learning how varsity softball worked, and she's one of those players who had a really good second half of the season. And, you know, she's just an athlete. So I guess what do you kind of envision her role and impact being this year?
Yeah, you're right. Maya Lentz is a great athlete, and I'm so glad that she's on our softball team. But Maya Lentz, like you said, last year was her freshman year, seeing varsity pitching for the first time, and she adjusted as the season went on. And then I know this off season she played a lot of club ball, which is going to help her. And I'm really looking forward to her being more of a leader on that infield at shortstop. And her bat, I think, is going to go off this year.
And, Coach, one of the keys to a strong team is being strong up the middle, and part of that starts at the catching position where you have Reagan Haynes behind home plate. And it's hard to forget, she's still an underclassman, but she's been catching a while for you.
All right, folks, we're going to fade out of Coach VO right there. Tried to get most of that interview in, but if you want to hear more, go to our website, algonaradio.com. They're going to start this one early for us as well here as the Algona Bulldogs take on the Ogden Bulldogs, another game at the Bob Morgan Softball Tournament. Leading things off for Algona, it'll be Kayla Busher batting to start off this top of the first inning. I'll go to the road team here as Busher jabs it about and misses, and we are underway here for game two. It'll be Busher, Trunkhill, and Haynes this inning for Algona, as it's now 79 degrees here in Ogden. A little bit more of a breeze outside as the pitcher is Wilcoxon. She'll motion and deliver as Busher flares that one in the air, shallow center field. Out is the shortstop, and putting it away is Leonard for out number one of the ball game, as Busher, the leadoff batter for Algona, is retired. So Wilcoxon, the starting pitcher, pitched in 30 games last season, 28 of them starts. Katie Wilcoxon with a 14-14 record, a 3.70 ERA, 88 Ks, 74 walks. Opponents batted 274 against her in 153 and a third innings. As the pitch downstairs to Allison Trunkhill for ball one. Again, Algona designated as the road team here for this one. It's a coin flip before the games here at these tournaments. They were the home team against Gilbert in that 6-5 loss. As the Wilcoxon pitch is upstairs for a ball, as the Bulldogs look to get something going offensively here in inning number one. And it seems appropriate that Ogden's at home because this is their home softball diamond, even though many other teams are playing here this weekend. That pitch missing downstairs to Trunkhill. She'll be followed by Reagan Haynes, Maya Lentz, Ryan Haynes, Lenny Van Tiger, Kinsey Tilgis, Beljo Dunning, Charlie Dodds in the batting order for the Bulldogs. And that is up and away for ball four, so Allison Trunkhill, today's starting pitcher for Algona, will draw the early walk. She came on in relief in the last game and will be the starting pitcher here today. Defensively for Ogden, it is Jansen behind home plate, Banks at third, Leonard at shortstop, Seligman at second, Askelson at first. It's Christensen in left, Winger in center, and Cruz out in right field. It'll be a courtesy runner at first base as Emma Spear will run for the pitcher Trunkhill for Algona. Bulldogs now 1-2 after losing 6-5. Both their losses this season by 1 run. As Wilcoxon will work here for Ogden, the right-handed starting pitcher. Ogden 2-2 coming into this tournament, although they won their first tournament game of the day as that pitch in there for a called strike, 0-1 on Reagan Haynes. They beat West Central Valley to open the season 10-3, then split a doubleheader of I-35. They won 7-5 and lost 10-2, and then Ogden would lose to Boone 6-4. And like we said, they won their earlier tournament game today. Wilcoxon with the motion and the pitch. Inside to Haynes for a ball. A big lead at first by Spear, who scrambles back to the bag. Snap throw down there by Jansen, but Spear getting back in. Spear was just loitering out there for that big secondary lead and daring Jansen to throw down and try to get her out. Haynes up at the front of that box, the motion and the pitch. In there for a called strike. And it's 1-2 here on the Bulldog designated player. Coach Man Otterloo is getting her legs out of that catching position here for the second game. He will let Charlie Dodds do the catching as Reagan Haynes will simply bat here in game number 2. The motion and the pitch to Haynes. And that is popped foul third base side. And that is into foul territory, out of play. And we will do it again if a 1-2 count. Banks went over there to give it a look. There's actually a fan right where that ball went, sitting with an umbrella over there. Frankly, a smart move on a day like today. Hazy skies, but not a cloud out there, and temperature is ready to go up into the 80s here momentarily. It is Spear on first base, 1 out, and a 1-2 count on the dangerous Reagan Haynes, who had a sacrifice fly in the last game. The motion by Wilcoxon in the pitch. Ground ball up the middle. It's off the glove of Wilcoxon. It deflects towards second base, and the tag is applied to Spear. What a good play at second base by Seligman. Seligman was able to navigate traffic there because not only was she there, but the shortstop Leonard was in the area as well. So all kinds of congestion over there if the runner approaching at the same time. But the tag is applied on Spear, and that is a fielder's choice for Reagan Haynes. Out number 2 of the inning. Goes 4 unassisted in your scorebook as Maya Lentz takes that first offering for a called strike. No score between Algona and Ogden. If I say Bulldogs, folks, you may have to ask me to clarify, as Ogden is also the Bulldogs. There's a tapper foul third base side, and it's an 0-2 count. Well, at least in this game, unlike the last game against Gilbert that Algona played, the uniforms are vastly different. Algona has the red pants, the black jersey top, and the Algona in that great font on the front of the uniform, red numerals front and back, and the black high socks for Algona. Wilcoxon fires, upstairs for a ball, 1-2 count. Ogden has the white high socks, the blue baseball pants with the script Bulldogs in the front underlined in blue numerals front and back, and pinstripes up and down the white shirt for that jersey top. Pitch to Lentz, that is blasted high in the air, fairly deep to right center field, but it is not deep enough, as getting over there is Winger to make the catch. Out number 3 of the inning as the Algona Bulldogs are put down here, leaving one runner on base. Bottom half of one coming up next, Algona and Ogden on Hometown Radio KLGA and the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
More sports club members.
Lusher Family Dentistry, serving your family since 1965 on Call Street in Algona.
Algona Plumbing and Heating, where a good flush beats a full house.
Kasuth Regional Health Center, your home for health care.
Walker Chiropractic and Wellness, caring for Algona, Sway City, and surrounding areas with chiropractic, nutritional, and physical therapy services.
Reeves Wicked Good Bar and Grill, for wicked good food, drinks, and service, you gotta go to Reeves.
High Point Land Company, your trusted land partner in Algona.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
Thank you to these sports club members bringing you this game on Hometown Home Country Radio.
CB Grain Solutions, satisfaction guaranteed.
Dump It, Kasuth County's local and reliable waste service provider for commercial and residential customers.
Albert Electric, flip the switch to Albert Electric.
Billy Offerman, your State Farm agent in Algona. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Greg Penning and Company, certified public accountants where everyone counts.
Daylight Donuts, open early with delicious donuts and great coffee.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
Hey Bulldogs fan, this is Coach Venadalu, and you're listening to Algona Softball on KLGA.
Allison Trunkhill ready to get back to work for Algona. She pitched the final couple of innings in Algona's first game against Gilbert in relief of Ryan Haynes, and she will get the start here this afternoon. Trunkhill, the right-handed junior for Algona, will face the Ogden lineup with Aubrey Leonard leading things off. Sarah Seligman after that, and Addie Banks the bat third. Harley Jansen, the catcher, hitting fourth. Brianna Winger, the center fielder, batting fifth. Cameron Askelson at first base hitting sixth. In the number 7 spot in the lineup is going to be Lauren Matthews, the designated player. Clara Cruz in right field hitting eighth, and Grace Christensen in left field batting ninth. That is the Ogden starting 9 here for this afternoon ball game. Again, getting us underway a little early here today, but they're keeping the tournament on schedule as the first pitch is delivered by Trunkhill for ball 1. Defensively for Algona, it is Dodds behind home plate, Dunning at third, Lentz at shortstop, Haynes at second, and Busher at first base. Left to right across the outfield, it's Van Tiger, and Tilgis. That could easily be the name of a law firm, as that one is in there for a called strike. At a count even, 1 ball and 1 strike. Leonard, right-handed hitting shortstop. Last year batted .395 with 21 runs driven in. She was hit by an astounding 29 pitches, according to the stats that I have here. I don't know how she made it through the season in one piece if that was the case. That was popped up foul, third base side, curving out of play. And we'll do it again here for 1-2 count. But Leonard, the leadoff batter, walked 16 times compared to 14 strikeouts, and a mind-numbing 29 hit by pitches. I can't believe that looking at the stats, but that's how you get a .594 on base percentage. Hits the back of the right-handed box. Leonard watches that one go up above head level for a ball, and the count is even here, 2-2 from Trunkhill. Ogden playing at their home diamond, which is 200 feet to left field, 200 feet to right field, and 210 feet to dead center, with that blue outfield wall all the way around. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Boy, did Trunkhill pull the string on the changeup that time, and she retires Leonard on the punch-out swinging for out number 1 of the bottom of the first inning. So just approaching 12:45 here. Bulldogs in their half of the first inning. They went down, no runs, no hits, 1 left on base. Now here in the Ogden half of the first inning, it'll be Sarah Seligman, the second baseman. Right-handed hitter again, pops it up first base side, backpedaling Busher. Busher has it measured, and she puts it away for a quick out number 2. As Trunkhill keeps the first 2 runners off base. And much like the game against Gilbert, Trunkhill just with that consistent working ahead, putting strike 1 and strike 2 in the zone and forcing batters just to get up there and be ready to swing the bat. As Banks, the right-handed hitting freshman, steps in, batted .364 last year of 2 homers and 15 runs driven in for Ogden. Leans back and forth on the legs as she hits a soft line drive to shortstop, and Lentz makes the catch. Boy, what a lightning quick inning that is for Trunkhill. Back-to-back first pitch outs on Seligman and Banks, and the Ogden Bulldogs are done here in the first inning. No hits, no runs, no errors, no one left on base. Inning number 2 coming up next on 92.7 KLGA.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
Signworks Inc. For all your signage needs and printed apparel, stop in or call 295-9544.
New Way K&H Co-op, delivering exceptional value through knowledge and innovation.
West Bend Ford, meeting your service, new and used vehicle needs.
Tom Eischen Sales, your store in the country, carrying steel and Toro products and Green Mountain pellet grills.
PMC Advantage Insurance Services, insuring our neighbors for over 80 years.
All sponsors of this game broadcast. High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
American Glass. For all your glass needs, think American.
Farm Bureau Financial Agents Dave Beisch, Daniel Foth, and Michael Tull.
Chemco Tires. They're all you need to know about tires and service.
Wykert Realtors, the 515 Agency, a fresh approach to real estate.
Grassmasters. Growing satisfied customers.
Iowa Lakes Community College, your community, your college.
Glenn's Green Thumb. From a small seed, something beautiful will grow.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
Welcome back here to Ogden as Ryan Haynes swings the first pitch and flies it into medium deep center field, but Wingers right underneath it as she'll put it away for out number one of the inning. So a lot of first pitch swinging here for the first inning plus as Ryan Haynes flies to center field for the first out. Trunkhill set down the final two Ogden batters in the bottom of the first on the first pitch, and Haynes flies out on the first pitch there as that'll bring Lainey Van Tiger to the plate. Van Tiger followed by Tilgis in the batting order this inning for Algona against Will Coxon as she pumps that one over but low for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball with no strikes. Will Coxon sets foot back aboard the pitching rubber and delivers. That brought that one up to even the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. Will Coxon led the team last year with 30 games pitched. Clara Cruz also pitched in 14 games, so a couple options there for Ogden to go to throughout this tournament. Pitches downstairs for a ball, and the count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. A little bit of a breeze blowing right to left across the field. We've had about the same conditions all morning and into the early part of the afternoon so far here in Ogden. The traffic just going right by on the highway out beyond the fence. Ground ball towards third base, and it is off the glove of Banks, and it deflects into left field. Safe aboard first base is Lainey Van Tiger. So Algona will have their second base runner of the ball game as Lainey Van Tiger continues to get on base here this morning. 1 out, 1 on, and Kinsey Tilgis, the right fielder, getting the starting assignment for Coach Van Otterloo in this ball game. Coach Van Otterloo making a couple of moderate lineup changes between game 1 and game 2, and when you have 2 games in one day, you want to see what young players can get at bats and step up and try a few people at different positions, which Algona is doing here today. Van Tiger at first, Tilgis first pitch swinging, fouls it off at home plate, and it's an 0-1 count. Well, it was very positive to see what Algona's offense did early in the game, in game 1 here this morning, as even though they did not win the game, they responded to the early runs by Gilbert. They battled and put 5 on the scoreboard in 5 innings. But the key for the pitching here will just be for Trunkhill continue to be in the zone as game number 2 progresses. Fouled off by Tilgis first base side, and it's an 0-2 count. But boy, how could you not be excited about the Algona Bulldog offense after that 20-run game in their season opener against Bishop Garrigan? Now, you're probably not going to have a whole lot of games like that throughout the rest of this season or even years to come, but it just showed the potential this team could potentially have if things are clicking on a certain day. As there's a swing and a miss. Beautiful pitch by Will Coxon. Slowed it down on Tilgis and had her fooled on the timing, as that is Will Coxon's first K of the ball game. Tilgis out number 2. Van Tiger still at first base for Algona as Bella Jo Dunning, the third baseman, digs in. Dunning busy over there at the hot corner in game number 1 as Gilbert peppered her of ground balls. Pitch to Dunning. And Dunning takes that one a little bit away for a ball. 1-0 count. Right-handed hitting sophomore for Algona. Well, this sophomore class at Algona is just a good female sports class, as Dunning is slightly choked up on that right-handed bat, and she will take it in there for a called strike 1-1. I mean, even if you just look at the softball team, the middle of your lineup is a couple of sophomores of Reagan Haynes and Maya Lentz in the 3-4 spot, and Dunning a big contributor as well. Charlie Dodds not to be forgotten either, as that pitch is up and away for a ball. It goes to the backstop, and Van Tiger can scramble up to second base. Early runner in scoring position on the wild pitch here for the Bulldogs, and a chance for Dunning to knock one in with a 2-1 count. Outfield fairly deep and straight up for Dunning. Infield at their normal depth. First and third baseman about even with the bags, and shortstop and second baseman a step behind the baseline. Pitch to Dunning as she tips it foul at home plate. Count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Speaking of Dodds, she is in the on-deck circle right now for Algona, getting the catching assignment here in the Bulldogs' second game of the day. And that'll be something to watch here. Reagan Haynes is such a weapon behind home plate, but if you have a good backup, that can be beneficial in any case, as Dunning flares that one into left field, moving over the left fielder, and she overran the ball. Christensen can't make the catch. Van Tiger scores. Dunning not stopping at second. She turns and burns for third base, and she's in there for the Bulldogs. 1-0 Algona. Maybe the wind just got that one because Christensen came in too shallow. She overran the ball, and it went over her head down the left field line as Dunning knocks home a run. Lainey Van Tiger touches home plate, and Algona has something that they did not have at any point in the game against Gilbert, a lead. 1-0 right now as the number 9 hitter, Charlie Dodds, will step into the box. As that one is in there for a called strike. Well, I will call that an E7 in my scorebook, although we'll see what the official stats have for us tomorrow. In any case, Dodds will grab the pine, or grab the lumber, that is, as she will take that pitch outside for a ball, 1-1 count. Well, I suppose if you want to technically speak here, she'll grab the aluminum before she steps in. Dodds, right-handed batter, holds that bat nearly vertical above the back shoulder, and she tried to scoop that pitch out, but it was down low as she swung and missed. Count 1-2 strikes. Dunning over at third base, 2 away. 1-0 Algona in this, we'll call it non-conference battle of the Bulldogs. The wind in, the pitch by Wilcoxon. Missed downstairs for a ball, 2-2 against Dodds. The Battle of the Bulldogs is usually reserved for when Algona plays Hampton Dumont Cal, but we'll bring it out here this afternoon as well. Wilcoxon fires up and away for a ball, 3-2 count. That Ogden softball scoreboard out in right center field, displaying the 1-0 Algona lead with a 3-2 count and 2 outs. Wilcoxon working quickly and delivers. Swing and a miss for strike 3. She erased Dodds on the payoff pitch, and the Algona Bulldogs are done in the second inning. They do put a run on the scoreboard, though, with the help of a couple of errors, and Algona on top 1-0 as we move now to the bottom half of 2 on Hometown Radio KLGA and the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com.
We've got more sports club members making this broadcast possible on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Algona Frame and Auto Body. We meet by accident.
Water connection, from softeners to bottled water and service. Call 295-SOFT.
Algona Pizza Ranch. There's so much to love.
Cotton Grave Farm Management and Land Realty, downtown Algona. Trusted for farmland service needs since 1960.
Algona Livestock. Sales every Monday.
Countryside Barbecue Sauce. 2 sauces for all seasons.
All bringing you this broadcast on the radio.
Hey Bulldog fans, this is Caitlin Burns and you're listening to Algona Softball on KLGA.
Game number 2 of the day for the Algona Bulldogs, leading the Ogden Bulldogs 1-0 right now on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream. It'll be 4, 5, and 6 in the Ogden batting order, with Jansen, Winger, and Askelson due to bat this inning. Harley Jansen, a right-handed hitting catcher for Ogden. Waves that bat above the back shoulder. She waits the first offering from Trunk Hill. Jansen batted .381 last season with 24 runs driven in as Jansen, a little nubber towards the circle. Trunk Hill bobbles, she recovers, she throws to first, and she threw it away. Play is backed up in right field by Kinsey Tilgis, but an error will allow Harley Jansen to reach safely at first. That was a play where Trunk Hill had more time than she thought she did, but the tendency as a pitcher is when you feel like you have bobbled the ball and you're trying to rush to get the out at first base, you try to pick it up and hurry the throw over there, and that creates an inaccurate throw as the umpire is examining the softball. But she came out of the pitching circle, she bobbled, and she had time to collect herself and make a good throw to first base, but she just sort of panicked and rushed that throw over there as Ogden has a base runner aboard. Dakota Jones will courtesy run at first base, as Winger will be the batter. Winger, a .419 hitter last year. Ogden as a team had an excellent .331 batting average as Winger tries to bunt, but she fouls it off third base side, and the count 0-1. Winger is a left-handed hitter, and especially in the game of softball, if you are a lefty, it is pretty much mandatory that you learn how to bunt, especially if you have a little bit of speed, because those infield hits with these close proximity bases can certainly be a big weapon to have. We'll see if Winger squares again. The 0-1 pitch, she does not. It's upstairs for a ball, and the count evens, 1 ball and 1 strike. That's a good sort of show-me pitch there from Trunkhill, though. You put one up and out of the zone and see if Winger's butting again, and if she is, maybe you entice her to jab at one that's out of the zone, or if she's not, you at least get the answer to whether you have to defend a bunt or not. Jones at first base, pitched by Trunkhill. Winger taken, that's a called strike. For the first by Dodge, and she threw it down the right field line. Tilges is on top of it quickly, though, and unable to advance as Jones. Jones dove back into first base, and that ball was overthrown by so much that it pretty much went all the way out to Tilges, who hardly had the move to go get it. So Jones can't advance, and Algona catches the break there. Trunkhill for 1-2 count, trying to buckle down here against the number 5 hitting Winger. The right-hander delivers. Tapped foul back to the screen. Winger with that big stride at the front foot and just got underneath that ball to foul it off at the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Askelson due up next for Ogden with a 3-2 record, including this morning. Ogden out of the West Central Conference, a Class 2A school, as the pitch swung on and missed for strike 3. Throw back to first by Dodds, and Jones dives back in there. Had the healthy secondary lead, but she's back in safely as Winger strikes out. That is K number 2 of the ballgame for Trunkhill, and it's 1 away here in the second inning. But Ogden plays in the West Central Conference. Some familiar schools like Des Moines Christian, Van Meter, Pleasantville, some of the other solid softball programs in that league. Jones at first. The pitch is grounded towards shortstop. Lentz on the backhand. She scoops to second base. Bang, bang, play, and they got her. Relay to first. Safe at first base. Askelson beat that one out. Nearly a double play, and Maya Lentz continues to flex her athleticism at shortstop. Got that hard hit ground ball by Askelson on the backhand. Shoveled it to Haynes covering second, and then the Bulldogs just couldn't quite turn it in time as Askelson was able to hustle down there on the fielder's choice. So 2 away. Designated player Lauren Matthews up to the dish. Matthews batted .280 with a homer and 17 RBIs last season. She swings and misses. Ball pops out of Dodd's mitt, though, and that passed ball will allow Askelson to scamper up the second base. That pitch was not in the dirt. That pitch was a little bit high, if anything, as Matthews, that is, swung and missed, but ball popped out of Dodd's mitt up the first base line. Askelson, with a little of a pigeon toe stance in the batter's box, has that right foot pointed in, as she will swing and miss. Matthews is behind in the count, 0-2 against Trunkhill, trying to work around the early base runner and keep Algona on top 1-0. Bottom of 2 here at Ogden. Trunkhill working into a rhythm. 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Ball pops out of Dodds' glove. She kicks it around. She throws to first, and it's in time for the out. The strikeout is completed as Matthews is retired. No hits, 1 error, 1 left on base as Ogden does not score. We now move to the top half of the 3rd inning on Hometown Radio and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
Thank you to these Sports Club members bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Good Samaritan Society, Algona's senior housing and services rooted in God's love.
Feed Mill Coffee Company, Algona's locally owned coffee shop.
Tangle Salon for all your cuts, colors, hair extensions, and massage therapy needs.
Schindler Lawn Care and Landscaping, 515-320-3840.
All bringing you this ball game.
Thank you to these Sports Club members bringing you this game.
Runkey Brothers Full Service. Experience the Runkey Brothers difference for all your auto service and repair needs.
Hy-Vee. Use the Fuel Saver card. Fill your cart, fuel your car.
North Iowa Appliance Center, Highway 18 East in Algona, where they sell the best and service the rest.
Erpelding Excavating Enterprises. Let them take care of your grading, excavating, and drainage needs.
Erpelding Void & Company CPAs. They're not just about taxes.
Sports Club members bringing you this game.
1, 2, and 3 in the batting order as Kayla Busher bunts down the 3rd base line. Gloved by Banks for the first. Not in time. Busher claps her hands as she has another bunt base hit. She got Gilbert for one earlier in the game, and boy, Kayla Busher is really showing off here in the leadoff spot for the Bulldogs. Adding that bunting for a hit game to her arsenal. That was another perfect roller on the 3rd base line. If anything, maybe she bunted it slightly too hard, but again, with enough speed and putting pressure on the defense, you can get some runners aboard if you're Algona. It's another bunt attempt, and this one is fouled back by Allison Trunkhill. So like I said earlier, Coach Van Otterloo making a new move here to put Busher in the leadoff spot, and early on, she is looking extremely comfortable up there as she laid down the bunt against Wilcoxon. Wilcoxon, the righty, fires, showing bunt is Trunkhill. She pulls it back. Busher got out to a big secondary lead as the catcher Jansen gave her a little look, but didn't throw over there. Count even now, 1 ball and 1 strike. This Ogden outfield plays the Bulldog hitters a little bit deeper than the Gilbert outfielders did in the first game. It's pitched to Trunkhill. Aggressive cut as she fouled that one back. Trunkhill was thinking extra bases on that one, but fights it off as the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Trunkhill for Algona. Right-handed hitting junior. 5 for 8 at the plate so far this season. Prior to today's, that pitch was in the dirt for a ball. And that will even up the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wilcoxon onto the rubber. The 2-2 pitch. Wave and a miss by Trunkhill for strike 3. That'll be out number 1 of the inning as Trunkhill retired for the first time in this game number 2 for Algona. And Reagan Haynes, the designated player, will be the batter. Haynes hitting into a fielder's choice her first time up, standing in. And the coaches can always say, take a step back a little bit in the outfield when Haynes is at the plate, but she pops this one up straight up in the air, in as the third baseman Banks, and it settles into her glove for out number 2. That is a big out for Wilcoxon. Haynes, an imposing figure at the plate, but she was able to induce the pop out on the first pitch as Busher, with that leadoff bunt, still sitting on first base for Algona. Now it's Lentz. The right-handed hitting sophomore with a fly out to center her first time up. Attacks the first pitch and rolls it foul through the third base coaching box. And the count 0-1. Well, second game of the day here, we are seeing a lot of the hitters ready to go and ready to rip on that first pitch. They're not spotting the pitcher any strikes. They're getting right after it here in game number 2 for the Algona Bulldogs. Lentz with that right-handed stance right on top of home plate. Lentz pops that one foul first base side. The Ogden defenders will give that a look with Cruz, the right fielder, but that ball curves out of play, and the count, no balls and 2 strikes on Maya Lentz. Ryan Haynes scheduled next for Algona. Wilcoxon delivers. Lentz, hard ground ball, shot in the hole between shortstop and third base into left field. Ball's kicked around and left by Christensen, and oh boy, Busher rolled her ankle going around second base as she goes back into the bag. She was thinking about going to third, and time is called. It'll be first and second for the Bulldogs, but I think Busher just hit that base awkwardly and rolled her ankle a little bit going around there as Coach Van Otterloo will go out to talk with Busher and check on her to make sure she is all right. Well, in any case, Lentz absolutely smoked a ball once again through the hole between shortstop and third base into left field. And Algona gets some of their hardest hit balls up and down the lineup from Maya Lentz. She is someone who consistently, when she makes contact, she barrels it up. And like we talked about with Coach Van Otterloo, the next step of Lentz is just cutting down on those strikeouts. The 26 strikeouts last year, just a little bit more than the Bulldogs would like, but once she puts bat on ball, it just jumps off the bat. As Busher appears to be all right, it just takes a little bit of walking around there and walking off any injury as she took that odd turn around second base and gives the thumbs up to the field umpire. So Wilcoxon will work in a little bit of a jam here. 2 singles ascending by the Bulldogs, one on a bunt by Busher and one on that hard hit ground ball. First 2 base hits of the game for Algona, unofficially in my scorebook, as Ogden had the 2 errors last inning. It is 1-0 Algona right now, but threatening for more with the senior Ryan Haynes at the plate. Pitch is outside for a ball. Algona continuing to take aggressive secondary leads on the base paths to see if they can entice Jansen to try to throw behind the base runners. Haynes is about as experienced as you get. Starter as an 8th grader for Algona and a fixture ever since then. As that one caught the black on the outside corner for a called strike. 1-1 to Haynes. Busher on second, Lentz on first. Algona trying to cushion their 1-0 lead as Wilcoxon goes to work with 2 outs. There's a soft line drive past the pitching circle. It rolls oddly towards second base. The flip to second, and they get the out on Lentz. What a play at second base by Seligman. Once again, the base runner, the ball, and the fielder were all converging at the same time. Seligman flipped it around the runner, Lentz, who curved around her, got the out at second base, and an excellent play at second with that oddly spinning ball ends the inning. Algona leaves 2 runners on base. We move to the bottom half of 3 on 92.7 KLGA.
When you need cash on the go, there's no need to pay a surcharge fee with MoneyPass. Iowa State Bank is proud to be part of the MoneyPass network of surcharge-free ATMs found nationwide. Look for the green and blue MoneyPass symbol on over 32,000 ATMs across the nation. Or find an ATM near your vacation spot or travel destination at moneypass.com. MoneyPass, another way that Iowa State Bank helps people succeed. Member FDIC.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
Signworks Inc. For all your signage needs and printed apparel, stop in or call 295-9544.
New Way K&H Co-op, delivering exceptional value through knowledge and innovation.
West Bend Ford, meeting your service, new and used vehicle needs.
Tom Eischen Sales, your store in the country, carrying Steel and Toro products and Green Mountain pellet grills.
PMC Advantage Insurance Services, insuring our neighbors for over 80 years.
All sponsors of this game broadcast.
We go to the bottom of the third inning. It's Algona 1 and Ogden nothing on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream. Algona with 2 hits and 2 runners left on base, but they did not score in the top of the third inning as Ogden will now bat with hitters number 8, 9, and 1 in the lineup. It'll be Clara Cruz, Grace Christensen, and Aubrey Leonard due to bat. Cruz, the right-handed hitting third baseman who's been busy at the hot corner so far in this game, hits out of a slightly closed and narrow right-handed stance as she rests the bat upon her back shoulder. Allison Trunkhill, the junior, back to work for Algona as she offers up the pitch. And Cruz will take that one. Caught the lower part of the zone for a called strike, 0-1. If you're a Bulldog defender, you love playing behind Trunkhill because she keeps you engaged, she throws a lot of strikes, and she forces the opponent to either put the ball in play or strike out. She is working with a good rhythm as she delivers. And there is a late swing and a miss by Cruz. Was tardy on that heat from Trunkhill, 0-2 count. I mentioned this earlier, but it does look like Trunkhill's added a little bit of velocity since last season as she continues to mature and gain experience in the pitching circle for Algona. Trunkhill rocks and brings the 0-2 pitch. Missed down in the dirt for a ball, 1-2 count. Algona playing straight up across the outfield. Normal depth in the infield with Busher maybe a step in front of the bag at first base for Cruz. As Christensen waits on deck. No one out, no one on. A 1-2 count from Trunkhill. Called strike 3. It was a delayed call, but Cruz frozen on that rise ball, and Trunkhill gets out number 1 of the inning. So Trunkhill has struck out back-to-back batters. She has recorded 4 punch-outs so far in this game as Grace Christensen steps into the box. Christensen only had 2 varsity at-bats last year as an 8th grader. Left-handed hitting freshman. Stands all like the back chalk of that left-handed box as Christensen tries to chop at that ball, but she misses for a strike, 0-1 the count. Well, that slap bunting, a skill that is ubiquitous among left-handed hitters who have good speed, and looks like Christensen is trying to work on that a little bit and put pressure on the Bulldog infield, especially Dunning at third base and Lentz at shortstop. Haynes very shallow at second as well as Christensen got brushed back a little bit off the plate as that was in off the black to even the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. The flow of traffic continuing on the highway out beyond the ballpark. It is a pretty straightforward trip here from Algona to Ogden. The wind and the pitch by Trunkhill. That is tapped foul behind home plate. And a 1-2 count with 1 out and nobody on base. Trunkhill continuing to absorb a bigger and bigger workload for Algona. Posted that sub-3 earned run average last season and has pitched well up to this point this year. Trunkhill winds and brings the 1-2. There's a roller towards first base. Busher will grab it and go to the bag with a couple of steps, and she will get Christensen for out number 2 of the inning. 2 up, 2 down, and this is really good here by Trunkhill. The only real trouble she's been in was allowing a base runner on via an error, but she has been in control so far here against the Ogden lineup. No hits by Ogden through the first part of the order, as they're now back to the top of the order of Aubrey Leonard, who struck out her first time up. Leonard drilled by that pitch. Up and in as that one got her on the front shoulder, so Aubrey Leonard will be aboard first base with 2 outs. As Trunkhill will call it a free pass, but it's not really free when you get drilled on the shoulder. You have to give a little pain for that one. It'll be Seligman now digging in here for Ogden. Seligman popped out to second base her first time up. As Leonard's at first, we'll see if Dodds gets tested here behind home plate. Trunkhill rocks and delivers, and it's a steal. And Dodds will drop the ball behind home plate. There will be no throw. That ball is over the plate for a called strike, but just popped out of the glove. That might be a play where, as a catcher, you're thinking, the runner might steal, I might have to get rid of this quickly, and she just tried to squeeze it too early. So a swipe of second by Leonard. Ogden as a team last year stole 124 bases in 134 attempts, so they certainly can run. The next pitch, upstairs for a ball. And it's a 1-1 count here on Seligman, the number 2 hitter, as Banks waits in the on-deck circle. Ogden threatening here. 2 outs, runner at second base, and Algona on top 1-0. Here in the Ogden softball complex. The junior Trunkhill brings the 1-1. Flied high in the air, fairly deep towards left field. Back is Van Tiger. She has room. She's near the line, and she drops the ball. Ogden will tie the game. Into second base is Seligman, and it is a error in left field by Laney Van Tiger. That ball was hit a mile high in the air, and I guess just came down with a lot of velocity because that kind of popped Van Tiger in the heel of that glove and just jumped right out. So on the E7, Seligman's at second base, and Ogden has tied this game at 1. Unofficially in the scorebook here, the second error of this ball game by Algona, as the number 3 hitter Banks will get a chance to bat. Soft line out to shorter first time up as that pitch is skipped in. Nicely scooped out from behind home plate by Dodds. Well, it's the small things. You look at what Algona's done so far this season. They are 1-2 with a pair of 1-run losses. And in last night's loss against Iowa Falls Alden, Trunk Hill allowed 4 runs, but only 1 was earned. So, again, in these 1-run type of games, plays like that can be very important going forward, as that ball is fouled off back to the screen by Banks. It's a 1-1 count. But that is the thing, especially once you get into conference play in the North Central. I mean, St. Edmund is such a force, but the middle part of that NCC, it is pretty much a coin flip from the teams in there. So a lot of the games will come down to marginal gains. There's a line drive, past third base down the left field line. Seligman waved around. Van Tiger bobbles the ball out in left field, and it'll be an RBI single by Addie Banks. Ogden of their first lead, 2-1, as that was a rip job right down the third base line. That is why they call it the hot corner, folks. And Dunning couldn't get over there fast enough to knock that down on the backhand. RBI single, Addie Banks. And any runs that score this inning against Trunk Hill will be unearned runs due to the 2-out error, as Coach Van Otterloo will go out to the pitching circle and talk things over with his Algona Bulldogs. Well, as always, we appreciate all our video streaming sponsors here making the Algona Radio YouTube stream possible, including Chemna Auto Center and Experience You Deserve. PMC Advantage Insurance Services, having the advantage it makes all the difference. Iowa State Bank, helping people succeed. Algona Frame and Auto Body, We Meet by Accident, and Algona Municipal Utilities, community-owned for community benefit. So the Algona Bulldogs found themselves trailing for the first time today, down 2-1 against Ogden, as Banks is aboard first base with the line drive single down the left field line. Banks did have 4 steals in 5 attempts last year. We'll see if Dodds gets tested again, as Harley Jansen stands in. Slightly open right-handed stance as Trunk Hill fires. That one right over the plate for a called strike at the knees. 0-1 count. Bottom half of the third inning, as the Bulldogs in their half of the inning will go through hitters 6, 7, and 8 in the batting order. Trunk Hill rocks and delivers. That is popped high in the air towards shortstop. Dunning, the third baseman, calls off the shortstop Lentz, and she will make the grab for out number 3 of the inning. But Ogden plates a pair of unearned runs. They go up 2-1 over Algona here on 92.7 KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube live stream.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
AK's Chrome Kitchen. When you come in, your family.
Farmers State Bank is proud to be part of our community. Offices in Algona, Whittemore, and West Bend.
Stroman Dental, giving you something to smile about.
Bill's Auto and Truck Repair. Service is the difference.
Trend Salon, your complete family hair salon. It's all about you.
Oakcrest Funeral Services, celebrating a life lived.
All bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Where you bank matters. Hi, I'm Sherry Bacon at Security State Bank, and we're relationship bankers. We get to know our customers and understand their financial needs. We're locally owned and operated, which means family, community, and service always comes first. So come to Security State Bank. We'll treat you like family. Security State Bank in Algona, Burt, and Laverne. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Security State Bank.
Hey Bulldog fans, this is Ryan Haynes and you're listening to Algona Softball on KLGA.
Top of the fourth inning here in Ogden as Algona trails the host Ogden Bulldogs 2-1. All 3 runs that have scored so far in this game have been unearned, that being from both sides, as Ogden has committed 2 errors, Algona with a pair of errors as well. Laney Van Tiger taking, and that is a called strike, 0-1. Van Tiger reached on one of those errors her first time up, eventually came around to score the lone Algona run thus far. Will Coxon back to work, fires Van Tiger, and there's a rip job to shortstop, but it's caught. Right into the path of Leonard. You can't hit that a whole lot harder if you're Laney Van Tiger, but Leonard positioned perfectly for out number 1 of the inning. One of the hardest hit balls in either game so far by the Bulldogs. And Algona certainly has hit a few balls hard so far this season, as it'll be Kinsey Tilgis, a strikeout victim her first time up. Hits out of a narrow stance at the front of the box. First pitch swinging, roller towards shortstop. It is charged by Leonard. Throw to first. It's in the dirt, and it is not picked at first base. Askelson got a glove on it, but she couldn't dig it out as Tilgis is aboard. So that's tough. That'll be a E6 on the shortstop, and a good play on the front end, but a throw in the dirt is going to be the error on the throwing party as Tilgis is aboard first with one out for Bella Jo Dunning, who reached on an E7 her first time up. The pitch to Dunning. In there for a called strike as Will Coxon pumps another one over. One out, one on. 1-run lead for Ogden with one out in the top of the fourth inning. And number 2, Bella Jo Dunning batting. Will Coxon rocks and delivers. Dunning, a smash to third base. Diving stop Banks. Throws to second, but it's thrown into right field. Tilgis will get up and she'll go. She'll move to third base. Oh my, what a play that was. And now Dunning's trying to go to second. She slides, safe at second. She caught the defense napping. And the throw goes to home plate as Tilgis will stay put at third base. Boy, a lot happened on that play, folks, but it started off with a smash to third base by Dunning. That was, frankly, an incredible play by Banks, diving to the forehand side to stop that on one hop, but she threw to second, and her throw went into right center field as Tilgis advanced to third base. After that, Ogden was not looking at Dunning, who got up and went to second. They realized in the last moment it almost got Dunning out there, but she slid in safely, and the Bulldogs have something brewing. Second and third for Algona for Charlie Dodds as the infield creeps in at the corners. Dodds wants to safety squeeze, but she pulls the bat back, and that will be ball one. You have to make sure if you're Kinsey Tilgis at third, you don't get too far away there. Obviously, you want a good jump, but got to make sure you don't get back-picked by Jansen. 1-0 pitch. Bunting again is Dodds, but she pulls it back, and the count 2-0 now. Banks is coming screaming in from third base to try to cover that bunt. And a big run for the left fielder Christensen as well, coming in to charge towards the infield. 2-0 pitch. It's bunted at home plate, and it's foul. That ball hit Dodds while she was still in the batter's box, and it's 2-1. That's why it's important as a bunter. You've got to have those feet set. Of course, the tendency is to try to get a running start and go to first base, but if that ball hits you while you're out of the box, it's an out, and the base runners don't advance. 2-1 pitch to Dodds. She squares and nicely scooped behind home plate. A pitch in the dirt, and Jansen was able to dig that one out. So this is the last thing that Ogden wants to do. The number 9 hitter is trying to bunt here, and Will Coxon is not putting the ball in the strike zone. A 3-1, Dodds squares, and she puts it down at the beauty third base side. Banks gloves, throw to first base, in time for the out, and a run scores for Algona. Job well done, Charlie Dodds. A safety squeeze bunt. And really a good job on third base, too, by Kinsey Tilgis. She did not leave too early, and that's the important thing. You leave too early, and Ogden goes back to home plate, and they tag you out. But a sacrifice bunt, going 2-3 in the scorebook, will bring home a run for Dodds. And the Algona Bulldogs tied at 2 for the top of their order with Busher. Runner at third is Dunning as Busher takes a mighty cut and comes up empty at that one. 2-2, top of the fourth. 0-1 count on Kayla Busher, who's 1 for 2 today, as Trunk Hill waits on deck. Busher watches that pitch go in the dirt, and it's a 1-1 count. Again, small sample size early in the season, folks, but Busher just looks so comfortable and so confident in this leadoff spot in the batting order. Will Coxon delivers, and Busher got jammed that time, fouls behind home plate, but Jansen can't get back there in time to make the catch. It's a 1-2 count on the foul by Busher, who carried the bat all the way down to first base for some reason, as she will now head back to home plate. Trunk Hill looming in the on-deck circle for Algona if they are able to get Busher on base here. Outfield relatively deep. A little bit of a gap towards left center field for Busher. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Will Coxon got her on the changeup that time as Busher was geared up for the fastball, and the Algona Bulldogs strand a runner at third base. In spite of that, the safety squeeze bunt, well executed by Charlie Dodds, does tie the game. It's 2-2 heading to the bottom of 4 on 92.7 KLGA.
When you need cash on the go, there's no need to pay a surcharge fee with MoneyPass. Iowa State Bank is proud to be part of the MoneyPass network of surcharge-free ATMs found nationwide. Look for the green and blue MoneyPass symbol on over 32,000 ATMs across the nation. Or find an ATM near your vacation spot or travel destination at MoneyPass.com. MoneyPass, another way that Iowa State Bank helps people succeed. Member FDIC. For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa bone, joint, and sports surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com.
So Algona has tied the game 2-2 against Ogden on a safety squeeze bunt by Charlie Dodds. And now Ogden will bat with number 5, 6, and 7 in the batting order. It'll be Winger, Askelson, and Matthews against Allison Trunkhill. The battery of Dodds and Trunkhill going back to work is that is a check swing, and they will say that Winger held back on that one. She was tempted there on the high pitch, but held back as the count 1-0. Busher in a little bit at first base. Gabby Van Tiger out in center, and Kinsey Tilgers in right, relatively shallow as well for Algona here against Winger, who was a strikeout victim her first time up. Trunkhill's next offering. Called strike over the low inside part of the plate, and count evens at 1-1 to Winger. A .419 hitter last season for Ogden. The leading batting average on the team. When picking up a little bit, now sort of blowing out towards left center as the pitch by Trunkhill. That one is going to be up and out of the strike zone. 2-1 count. It was 1 run in the second inning and 1 run in the fourth for Algona. Ogden scoring both of their runs in the third inning. That squeeze bunt by Dodds bringing home the run for Algona. Still in this game, all 4 runs have been unearned as the pitch is downstairs for a ball and it's a 3-1 count. The two pitchers here this afternoon have really been pounding the strike zone. It has been rare that we've seen Trunkhill behind like this in a count 3-1. Will Coxon on the other side has been in the zone as well, forcing the Bulldog hitters to get the bat off their shoulders and swing. Trunkhill's 3-1, and that is a line drive foul through the third base coaching box, and that will bring the count full left 3-2 on Winger. Askelson next, Matthews in the hole. Cruz if anybody gets on base for Ogden. So Ogden, first base dugout getting warned there. They were doing a 2-in-a-row chant talking about the pitches out of the strike zone, and the field umpire said, let's keep it positive here. So a 3-2 count now. 2-2 score right now. As back aboard the rubber is Trunkhill. The motion and the pitch. And there's a tapper foul at home plate as Winger fights that one off to stay alive. So another battle at home plate unfolding here. Trunkhill not bending and missing the zone, but Winger doing a good job of just fighting off some good 2-strike offerings. 3-2 count. This will be pitch number 7 of the at-bat as the Bulldog junior Trunkhill continues her workmanlike day so far after coming in relief in that first game against Gilbert. Trunkhill for the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 3. That may have been ball 4, but Winger was in protect the strike zone mode, and that is strike 3 from Trunkhill, who has the first out of the inning. Well, Trunkhill, who is usually very good at inducing soft contact today, has induced quite a few strikeouts. In fact, that is number 5 of the game by Trunkhill, according to my scorebook here. So Trunkhill will now face Cameron Askelson, who hit into a fielder's choice as she flies that in the air, right center field, cruising over to the ball, Tilgers, and Tilgers makes the grab out there in right center for out number 2 of the inning. 2 up, 2 down. Still a 2-2 tie here as Ogden will have Lord Matthews trying to jumpstart this inning. Tilgers out there in right field getting that first action here as she did not start in game number 1 for Algona, but starting here today in game number 2. The Algona Bulldogs without the services of Caitlin Burns in this Saturday tournament. Matthews will swing and tap that one foul behind home plate, and it's an 0-1 count. And that really just puts into perspective that it was a pretty good offensive game in game number 1 of Algona. Back when they played Gilbert at around 10:30 this morning, you don't have your regular leadoff hitter Burns, and they still were able to produce 5 runs in 5 innings. And frankly, if I'm Coach Van Otterloo, after watching the way that Kayla Busher is bunted today, I'm thinking, you know, maybe Busher in that leadoff spot isn't such a bad idea. The pitch by Trunkhill, and that is downstairs for a ball, 1-1 count. Of course, Burns, normally the leadoff hitter, more of that traditional left-handed leadoff hitter, speed merchant from track and field and outfielder, whereas Busher's your first baseman. But boy, those 2 bunts that she laid down today were just so perfect for base hits that I think Busher may hit near the top of the order as the pitch by Trunkhill is tapped foul at home plate, and it's a 1-2 count right now. Of course, that's a good problem to have when you have a situation where you say, well, we have 2 people who would be good leadoff hitters. That's better than saying we have 0 people who would be a good leadoff hitter. Matthews back in as Cruz is on deck, and Trunkhill trying to work a 1-2-3 4th inning. The Bulldog Jr. delivers. Lined foul third base side, and that'll be near the fence, as one of the fans down that line went sprawling out of his seat and face planting there looking for that ball, but it stayed in play as it stays a 1-2 count. to the number 7 hitter Matthews, who is 0 for 1 off a strikeout. Designated player for Ogden. Will Coxon, their pitcher, is the one not in the batting order. Here's the Trunk Hill pitch. Popped in the air, third base side, curving into foul territory. The fan can have some chance for redemption, but he can't reach that foul ball. That's a tough sequence there. You hate to see that. He face planted after that first foul ball, and then the next foul ball over that fan's head. As it stays a 1-2 count here from Trunk Hill. The Bulldog Jr. has a new softball. The 1-2 pitch. And she pulled it outside for a ball as the count evens, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Left fielder Laney Van Tiger is way over towards that line for Algona, as there is a gaping hole in left center field if Matthews is able to shoot one up the alley. They protect that foul line, though, as the pitch is outside to Matthews. Pulled away there by Trunk Hill, who rotates that arm a little bit and tries to loosen up here. 3-2 counts, top half of, make that bottom half of 4 here in Ogden. In the top of the 5th, the Algona Bulldogs will have Allison Trunk Hill, Reagan Haynes, and Maya Lentz. 2-3-4 due to hit, as Trunk Hill tries to keep it a 2-2 game. The next pitch, tapper foul third base side, into the dugout. Boy, Coach Van Otterloo has a bullseye on him today. Coach Van Otterloo was sitting on a bucket there in the entrance of the dugout, and that ball nearly took him out. Game 1 against Gilbert, we saw a bunch of those foul balls through the third base coaching box, and even in the dugout, Coach VO has to be on his toes and ready for the action. Gotta look alive over there, Coach. 3-2 pitch. Cold strike 3. A beautiful pitch over the low inside corner, and Trunk Hill freezes Matthews for out number 3 of the inning. 2 Ks as Trunk Hill sets the side down 1-2-3, and we move to the 5th. 2-2 between Algona and Ogden on 92.7 Hometown Radio.
Thank you to these sports club members bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Good Samaritan Society, Algona's senior housing and services rooted in God's love.
Feed Mill Coffee Company, Algona's locally owned coffee shop.
Tangle Salon for all your cuts, colors, hair extensions, and massage therapy needs.
Schindler Lawn Care and Landscaping, 515-320-3840.
All bringing you this ball game.
Thank you to these sports club members bringing you this game.
Runkey Brothers Full Service. Experience the Runkey Brothers difference for all your auto service and repair needs.
Hy-Vee. Use the Fuel Saver card. Fill your cart, fuel your car.
North Iowa Appliance Center, Highway 18 East in Algona, where they sell the best and service the rest.
Erpelding Excavating Enterprises. Let them take care of your grading, excavating, and drainage needs.
Erpelding Void and Company CPAs. They're not just about taxes.
Sports club members bringing you this game.
Back here at the Ogden Softball Diamond for the Bob Morgan Tournament. It is Ogden and Algona tied at 2 right now as we play in the top of the 5th. And a big spot here in the Algona Bulldog lineup with Trunk Hill, Haynes, and Lentz. That pitch is in there for a strike from Will Coxon, who evens the count 1 ball and 1 strike. The Ogden Bulldog right-hander has allowed 2 runs today, but both of them unearned. Same can be said for Allison Trunk Hill, the Algona Bulldog righty, as that pitch will skip in the dirt to Trunk Hill. A 2-1 count, as Trunk Hill has walked and struck out so far in this afternoon's contest. If you're just tuning in, Algona dropping a tough 1, 6-5 against Gilbert in their first game. As Trunk Hill flies that one in the air, shallow center field, charging in is Winger, and she gets underneath it to make the catch for out number 1 of the inning. Winger has been the busiest of the 3 outfielders out there for Ogden, with a few flyouts to straightaway center for Algona. And Trunk Hill down quietly here for the first out of the 5th inning. So we'll see if Reagan Haynes can grip one and rip one here for the Algona Bulldogs. Haynes hit into a fielder's choice and popped up to third. The wind in the pitch to Haynes. Haynes with a roller towards shortstop. It's charged over there by Leonard. Leonard throw to first base in time for the out. And that is a lightning quick 2 up, 2 down for Will Coxon, who induces a couple of outs to 2 of the most dangerous hitters here in the Bulldog lineup. Boy, when you go through 2, 3, 4 in the batting order, you're thinking do some damage on the Algona side of things. But if Will Coxon gets a 1, 2, 3 inning here, that is going to be huge for Ogden. Lentz into the box. The pitch. Wave and a miss for a strike. Lentz went fishing for one that was down below the knees and pulled that head out there for the big cut as the count is 0-1. Lots of a fly out to dead center field and a sharp single in between third and short her last time up. And Lentz will take that one. Borderline pitch, but just out of the zone as the count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. The wind has shifted here. It was blowing across the field earlier, but now it is blowing straight out to dead center field. And that is downstairs. Jansen tried to bring that one up and frame it, but it stayed below the knees. 2 balls and 1 strike from Will Coxon. Ryan Haynes due up next. The righty's next offering. Lentz with a sharp ground ball up the middle into center field for a base hit. Winger knocks it down in center field as Lentz takes the turn, but she will stay at first base. And the excellent start to the season by Maya Lentz continues for Algona. Even though she doesn't hit the ball in the air, it's just hard hit balls, high exit velocity off the bat as she grounds one through the middle. And a 2-out base runner for Algona right now for Ryan Haynes. Haynes will fly out to center field and also heading to a fielder's choice as she is 0 for 2. Pitch to Haynes. She fouls that one off to the first base side, and it's an 0-1 count. Top of the 5th inning as Ogden and Algona remain tied at 2 apiece. This is really more of a pitcher's game here with a couple of miscues defensively leading to the combined 4 unearned runs between these teams. Wilcoxon with the next pitch. Up and away for a ball. Throw back to first base by Jansen, but diving in there safely is Lentz. That was a great job by Jansen behind home plate, lunging towards the left-handed batter's box to prevent the pitch from going to the backstop and keeping Lentz at first base. Outfield deep for Haynes. 1-1 pitch. That one caught the knees for a called strike. 1-2 count. Wilcoxon 1 pitch away here from straining another Algona runner aboard base. Algona has had at least 1 runner every inning so far. Wilcoxon toes the rubber. The Ogden right-hander delivers. Haynes will ground ball up the middle, and that's through into center field for a base hit as well. Lentz paused at second, now she'll run to third. The throw by Winger not on time, and advancing to second base is Haynes. Good aggressive base running by Algona, continuing the trend from earlier on this season, and the Algona Bulldogs have a 2-out rally brewing. The back-to-back singles by Maya Lentz and Ryan Haynes put things in the hands of Lainey Van Tiger. And boy, Van Tiger loved to atone for an earlier error that she made in left field that was part of that 2-run inning for Ogden, and she has a chance to do it right now. Had an RBI hit in the first game against Gilbert, as Van Tiger will take that one for a called strike. Wilcoxon continue to keep the ball down low in the zone, which is why you love to see those ground ball base hits for the Bulldogs. They're not trying to do too much against those low pitches. Just shoot it back through the infield. In the dirt, scooped nicely behind home plate by Jansen on the forehand side, and it's a 1-1 count to Lainey Van Tiger. Kinsey Tilgis up next for Algona. Van Tiger trying to reach here with a 2-2 tie. In the dirt, pitch that time of the backhanded side by Jansen, as Wilcoxon falls behind in the count 2-1. Lentz at third, Haynes at second base. Wilcoxon with the 2-1 offering. There's a rocket to shortstop. Oh, what a scoop by Leonard. Throw to first in the dirt, and it's picked off the ground for the out. What a play again at shortstop by Leonard. These infielders for Ogden are really handling the hot shots of Algona. That ball is in the dirt. Askelson did not pick it initially, but that throw got there so quickly she grabbed it for bare hand off the ground before Van Tiger could get to first base. The game stays tied at 2 as Algona strands runners at second and third base. Bottom of 5 coming up next on 92.7 KLGA.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
Signworks Inc. For all your signage needs and printed apparel, stop in or call 295-9544.
New Way K&H Co-op, delivering exceptional value through knowledge and innovation.
West Bend Ford, meeting your service, new and used vehicle needs.
Tom Eischen Sales, your store in the country, carrying steel and Toro products and Green Mountain pellet grills.
PMC Advantage Insurance Services, insuring our neighbors for over 80 years.
All sponsors of this game broadcast. High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
American Glass. For all your glass needs, think American.
Farm Bureau Financial Agents Dave Beisch, Daniel Foth, and Michael Toll.
Chemco Tires. They're all you need to know about tires and service.
Wykert Realtors, the 515 Agency, a fresh approach to real estate.
Grassmasters. Growing satisfied customers.
Iowa Lakes Community College, your community, your college.
Glenn's Green Thumb. From a small seed, something beautiful will grow.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
Bottom half of the 5th inning as Algona and Ogden are locked in a 2-2 tie. Clara Cruz batting now for Ogden against Allison Trunkhill. As Algona stranded runners at second and third as that one is fouled back to the screen by Cruz. She'll be followed by Christensen, then back to the top of the order with Leonard against Trunkhill. Algona sparked a 2-out rally, back-to-back hard-hit ground ball singles by Maya Lentz and Ryan Haynes. They advanced to second and third base on the throw. Then Lainey Van Tiger smoked one to shortstop, but Leonard picked it nicely, threw in the dirt, but the play was completed at first base for the third out of the inning, as it's a 1-1 count. This 2-2 score does maybe not do justice to the amount of hard-hit balls that we've seen so far today. But this Ogden infield defense on the left side, very athletic with Banks and Leonard. 1-1 count. Trunkhill delivers. And that one maybe a little bit outside, 2-1 count. Both teams starting to pile up the runners left on base numbers here, mainly with Algona, but Ogden has left a couple on base as well. 2-1 count. And that one's a called strike, evening the count 2-2. In fact, Ogden only had 2 left on base up to this point, but Algona left 2 on last inning. They left on 1 the inning before, 2 the inning before that, and then 1 each of the first 2 innings. So there's been some traffic for the Algona Bulldogs as that pitch is downstairs. Dodge tried to bring that one up and frame it, but the home plate umpire not fooled. Count full at 3-2. Cruz, the strikeout victim her first time up, battling here against Trunkhill, and an important pitch coming up in the bottom of the 5th to try to keep that leadoff runner off base. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Trunkhill came right after her, and Cruz light on that cut as that is out number 1 of the inning. Trunkhill has been at a couple of full counts today, and it seems like every time she's gotten in one, she has dialed it back for just a little bit extra. As Christensen, the left fielder, digs in, grounding out to first base her first time up, 0 for 1 today. Kayla Busher has been busy over at first base as well for Algona as there's a tapper in between home plate and the circle. It rolls back to Dodds and no chance to make the throw there to first base. Dodds did throw there, but Christensen easily beats that one out. She could not have placed that one more perfectly, about halfway in between home plate and the pitching circle, and that ball had so much backspin on it, it rolled back to the catcher Dodds. In fact, I wonder if Dodds had let that one go, if that one might have ended up rolling foul. We'll never know as Christensen reaches first base with the infield single. Leonard batting, Leonard bunting, Leonard pulling it foul third base side. Well, we'll see if Christensen runs here. She's shown some good speed so far. Last year, she was 7 for 7 in stolen bases in relatively limited playing time. So a potential threat here as it's an 0-1 count. 1 out, runner on first base. And Ogden looking to pull ahead of Algona. Trunkhill offers up the next pitch. It is inside for a ball. Throw to second by Dodds, not in time. That was a hard pitch to throw on there as that one was nearly behind the batter at home plate. And no chance there to erase Christensen at second, who does swipe the bag. That'll be the second steal of the day for Ogden as Leonard had one earlier on. The force at second out of the equation. And 2 chances to knock in the run from second if you're 1 and 2 hitters in the lineup. Pitch to Leonard. Leonard, rocket past third base, just foul. She was inches away from making this a 3-2 ball game in favor of Ogden. But that one stayed foul. And it's a 1-2 count for Trunkhill. Boy, could Trunkhill use another punch out right here. Seligman on deck, Banks in the hole as Leonard digs back into the back of that right-handed box. Trunkhill's 1-2. Foul back to the screen. Leonard is trying to time that up. Once again, Trunkhill reared back for just a little more right there to try to power past Leonard. But that's all you have to do with those 2 strike pitches, just keep spoiling them until the pitcher makes a mistake. Christensen at second base. Trunkhill's 1-2. That one is flied in the air, shallow center field. This could be trouble, but Van Tiger charges and she makes the catch. Gabby Van Tiger just ate up ground and had that one read very well in center field as she reacted immediately. That is out number 2 of the inning and a big out, retiring a dangerous Aubrey Leonard. Now it's 2 down, runner at second for Sarah Seligman. Reached on an E7 last time up. She also popped up to second base earlier in the ball game. Christensen still at second base. The pitch by Trunkhill. And that one is down below the knees for a ball. 1-0 count. Banks due up next on deck, that is, for Ogden. As we approach 1:40 here in the afternoon. Algona playing back-to-back games in this tournament. The pitch by Trunkhill. Hit towards shortstop Letts. Fields it on the backhand, 1-hop. Throw to first is low, and Busher can't pick it out. Moving up to third base is Christensen. And the inning stays alive for Ogden. Once again, a great play on the front end there by Lentz. Knew she had to hustle to throw over to first base to get Seligman. And it was in the dirt. Busher got her full glove on that, but that is a tough pick to make, and she could not pull it out. So that'll be a runner aboard first base for Ogden, and a runner at third base as well. We'll see how soon Seligman tries to take off to go to second as Banks bats. Trunkhill rocks and delivers. Upstairs to Banks for a ball. Seligman is going to go to second base on indifference. She went about halfway in between first and second, trying to draw a throw from the Algona Bulldogs, but they said, we'll let you take second base, and we will focus in on the batter, Addie Banks, who singled her last time up to drive in a run. Second and third now for Ogden. Trunk Hill buckling down and delivering. There's a line drive into left field for a base hit as Ogden takes the lead. 1 run scores of Christensen. Here's the second run, and sliding at the plate, safe. Seligman with a great slide to evade the tag of Charlie Dodds, and Christensen and Seligman both score on the RBI single to left field by Banks. A 2-run single, line drive there of 2 outs. And boy, the regretful part of this whole day for the Bulldogs, both that first game against Gilbert and this game here against Ogden, is the plays that haven't been made. Lentz made that nice play at shortstop with the backhand, but that throw in the dirt allowed the inning to continue, and Ogden has punished Algona for that. Jansen now will bat. And this is what was an issue last night against Isle Falls Alden. The Bulldogs not making plays when they needed to. That pitch in there for a called strike. It's 4-2 Ogden right now as we adjust the scoreboard here on our Greg Penning and Company scoreboard. Ogden in front, bottom of the 5th inning in the Bob Morgan tournament. Jansen 0 for 2 today. She was on board once via an error. Runner at second is Banks. Hard hit ball past third base down the left field line. Turning and burning around third base is Banks, as she will score easily. And another base hit by Ogden of 2 outs. Clutch swing there for Jansen, and it's 5-2 as the big insurance run comes through. Ogden is just absolutely turning their hips on the offerings of Trunk Hill and ripping the ball to left field side. Charlie Dodds will go out into the pitching circle and talk things over of Trunk Hill. That is a deflating feeling as a pitcher. You felt like you made the pitches to get out of this inning without allowing any runs, but you have to battle, you have to face more hitters, and this third time for the batting order, Ogden is taking substantially better swings against Trunk Hill than the first times through the batting order. So Jansen will receive the courtesy runner at first base. Dakota Jones running now for Ogden. Left-handed hitter right now. Winger flies that in the air towards center field. Van Tiger having trouble finding it, but she pulls down at the last minute. Van Tiger got turned the wrong way there at first, but Gabby eventually does make the catch out there in center field for the third out of the inning. But not before Ogden dishes out some 2-out punishment. It's Ogden 5 and Algona 2 as we move to the top half of 6 on 92.7 KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube live stream.
For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa bone, joint, and sports surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com.
We've got more sports club members making this broadcast possible on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Algona Frame and Auto Body. We meet by accident.
Water Connection, from softeners to bottled water and service. Call 295-SOFT.
Algona Pizza Ranch. There's so much to love.
Cotton Grave Farm Management and Land Realty, downtown Algona. Trusted for farmland service needs since 1960.
Algona Livestock. Sales every Monday.
Countryside Barbecue Sauce. 2 sauces for all seasons.
All bringing you this broadcast on the radio.
Kinsey Tilges' first pitch swinging and missing. As back to work goes Will Coxon with a lead now for Ogden. 5-2 Ogden Bulldogs over the Algona Bulldogs in the top half of the 6th inning as Kinsey Tilges, Bella Jo Dunning, and Charlie Dodds are due to bat. Pitch to Tilges, that is flied high in the air towards left center field. The lazy fly ball to Christensen will be caught for the first out of the inning. Well, once again, you go back to that last inning for Algona, that last half inning. In my scorebook, I didn't put any of those plays down as errors. I think those were all hits for Ogden, but once again, it's plays that you wish you could have made if you were Algona, or you think that you should have made, and it's one play here, one play there, and that could be the difference between walking out of today with a 1-3 record and walking out of today with a 4-0 record if you're Algona. It is that close here. Now, still, of course, a chance to rally here, but the Algona Bulldogs have put themselves behind the 8 ball here in the 6th inning, down 5-2. Dunning singled her last time up. She checks on that swing, and she did hold back as that pitch was out of the zone. 2-0 count. 1 run in the 2nd inning and 1 run in the 4th for Algona. 2 in the 3rd and 3 in the 5th for Ogden. That pitch is pulled up and away by Will Coxon, and she falls behind Dunning 3-0. Well, in that last game against Gilbert, it was the bottom of the order taking competitive at-bats that really jump-started Algona a couple of times. So we'll see if that becomes the case here for the number 8 hitter, Bella Jo Dunning. Pitch to Dunning. called strike. That'll make it to a 3-1 count for Wilcoxon. Bulldogs up on the fence, occupying that third base dugout. Ogden down beneath us on the first base side. Wilcoxon's 3-1 pitch, and she skips that one in there for ball 4 as Beljo Dunning draws the 1-out walk for Algona. So we need some more at-bats like that against Wilcoxon, who will get a visit in the pitching circle. The catcher, Jansen, goes out. The infielder started to also visit in the circle, and Jansen says, this is a one-on-one conference with Wilcoxon. Infielders can stay in their positions. And the number 9 batter, Charlie Dodds, who laid down a squeeze bunt to bring in a run last time up, steps to the plate. So safety squeeze last time for Dodds. Strikeout her first time up. Following Dodds will be Busher in the Bulldog batting order. So after a chance to collect herself, Wilcoxon will go back aboard the rubber. Infield is pinching it at the corners here for Dodds, with good speed from that right-handed box as she cuts and misses the first offering for strike 1. Dodds getting the catching assignment here in the second game after Haynes was put at the designated player position to give her a little afternoon off her feet, just to bat. Pitches downstairs for a ball, and it's a 2-1 count. And I'm sure she and Trunk-Hill work a lot together in practice, but it is always something different seeing it in a game action. As Trunk-Hill has pitched well today. 1-1 pitch, up and away, and a great lunging stab by Jansen. Throw back to first base, but diving in there safely for Algona is Dunning. Dunning also making sure that she holds the bag and doesn't take it off there before the tag is taken off of her, as it's a 2-1 count right now to Dodds. Again, bottom of the order, all you ask for here is to be a hard out as the pitch to Dodds. In there for a called strike, and the count evens 2 balls and 2 strikes. Outfield stays relatively deep for Ogden. Those 3 outfielders like to charge in for balls rather than have one go over their head. As it's a 2-2 count, wind down the pitch, and Dodds just fights that one off back to the screen and stays alive with a 2-2 count. Next pitch will be number 6 of the at-bat from Wilcoxon. Dunning remains aboard first base. Wilcoxon ready? The 2-2 offering. And she skipped that one in there as Jansen blocked it. Throw to second base, and it's in time, and they tag Dodds out. They tag Dunning out, I beg your pardon, for the second out of the inning. That is ball 3 to Dodds. And 2 outs in this inning. 3-2 count on Dodds, and what a play by Jansen behind home plate. Jansen dug that one out cleanly. Dunning made the aggressive play to try to run to second, and she was gunned down with a perfect throw by Jansen. Meanwhile, Dodds fights off another pitch, battling here for 2 strikes. A 2-2 count. Or I thought it was a 3-2 count, but in any case, 2 strikes here on Dodds. The pitch to the Bulldog sophomore. And that is outside. And the umpire says, go to first base, Charlie. She was fooled by the scoreboard as well. So Charlie Dodds does get the walk, and now how big does that caught stealing a second look? The Bulldogs could have been bringing the tying run up to the plate here, but instead, it'll be runner at first of 2 outs. The top of the order with Kayla Busher now batting. Busher 1 for 3 today. Pitch to Busher, and she slices that one foul first base side, right over us in the press box. And it's an 0-1 count. Wilcoxon has been in the zone so far today, but 2 walks this inning. Just her 3rd walk of the game. Maybe a little bit of fatigue here in the afternoon as she skips that one in. Dodds staying put at first base as I think the Algona Bulldogs are probably not really thinking about testing Jansen a whole lot more behind home plate after that last throw. The 1-1. Busher lashes that one into center field, and that is down for a base hit on the line drive. Dodds station to station as she almost took too big of a turnaround second there, but even if Ogden throwing behind her, she is on the bag safely. And Kayla Busher for a second hit of this ball game. First and second now for Algona. And we'll see if Trunk-Hill can deliver here. All it takes is one swing as Trunk-Hill homered in the first game of the season for Algona. And she can help out her own cause and you even say pick up the defense here. Some of the miscues that have been made behind Trunk-Hill so far today. Busher will get a pinch runner for Algona as Taylor Van Otterloo goes to first base. Even just a ball in the gap here would be huge for the Bulldogs of Algona. So yeah, Van Otterloo at first base. Dodds at second right now. Good speed on the bags for Algona. As we have 2 outs in the top half of the 6th inning with Algona down 5-2. Trying to avoid dropping both games here at the Ogden tournament after their rally against Gilbert fell short in a 6-5 game. Wilcoxon with the pitch. That is downstairs for a ball. 1-0 count. Reagan Haynes is looming menacingly on deck. The last thing Will Coxon wants to do is have to face her, although Trunkhill has been a tough customer of her own so far this season. Pitch to Trunkhill. In there for a called strike at the knees, and the count evens 1-1. I would comment on the home plate umpire here and say that's been a pretty consistent pitch so far this game. This has been a pretty fair zone here in game 2 as that pitch is upstairs for a ball. 2-1 count. All you ask for is consistency, and we have seen that here so far as Trunkhill's back in. The 2-1 count, and Trunkhill foul tips that one at the plate, and the count evens at 2-2. Algona stranded runners at second and third back in the 5th inning. They have 2 runners on base right now, trying to avoid more left on base runners. So far, 7 runners left aboard for Algona in this ball game. Here's the motion by Will Coxon and the 2-2. Fouled third base side. Will Coxon tried to pull the string on Trunkhill, but she got that front foot down and kept the bat in the zone long enough just to roll that foul third base side. That changeup by Will Coxon has not been often used so far today, but she has brought it out in important situations and fooled the Bulldog hitters a couple of times on that. Will Coxon's 2-2. Trunkhill with a flare, shallow right field. That one's going to carry out to Cruz, though. She charges in last minute and makes a basket catch. Boy, Cruz had a little trouble judging of where that ball was going to go and then had to make the bucket catch there at the last possible minute, retiring Trunkhill for out number 3. So once again, Algona leaves 2 runners aboard base. They had 1 hit that inning, 2 left on board, and do not score. It is 5-2 right now in favor of Ogden on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
More sports club members.
Lusher Family Dentistry, serving your family since 1965 on Call Street in Algona.
Algona Plumbing and Heating, where a good flush beats a full house.
Kasuth Regional Health Center, your home for health care.
Walker Chiropractic and Wellness, caring for Algona, Sway City, and surrounding areas with chiropractic, nutritional, and physical therapy services.
Reeves Wicked Good Bar and Grill, for wicked good food, drinks, and service, you gotta go to Reeves.
High Point Land Company, your trusted land partner in Algona.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
Thank you to these sports club members bringing you this game on Hometown Home Country Radio.
CB Grain Solutions, satisfaction guaranteed.
Dump It, Kasuth County's local and reliable waste service provider for commercial and residential customers.
Albert Electric, flip the switch to Albert Electric.
Billy Offerman, your State Farm agent in Algona. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Greg Penning and Company, certified public accountants where everyone counts.
Daylight Donuts, open early with delicious donuts and great coffee.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
Hey Bulldogs fan, this is Coach Venadalu, and you're listening to Algona Softball on KLGA.
It has been an afternoon of missed opportunities for Algona so far as they trail Ogden 5-2 right now on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream. The batters this inning for Ogden will be Askelson, Matthews, and Cruz. First pitch to Askelson, and that one a cold strike from Trunkhill, 0-1 count. Trunkhill has pitched well. She is trying to fight through a couple of miscues defensively by Algona, but at this point, Ogden finds himself up 5-2. Some 2-out runs, 3 of them, in fact, the last inning being the difference so far. Trunkhill winds and pitches, and pulled that one outside for a ball as the count evens 1-1. As we mentioned, a big week coming up to start off here for Algona. Non-conference game against Pocahontas area Monday night, and then the Battle of Highway 169 against Humboldt, as Algona will welcome the Humboldt Wildcats on Wednesday night. We'll have that Wednesday coverage for you here on the Algona Radio YouTube stream as there's a tapper at home plate foul. Monday night we'll be covering the Algona baseball doubleheader against Clear Lake. An NCC doubleheader, the new schedule here for the baseball season, as the Bulldogs of Algona will be playing a lot of doubleheaders on Monday nights. Like we said, we'll have that one for you on Monday night against Clear Lake. 1-2 count from Trunkhill as she fires. And missed that one a little bit up and away for a ball, so the count evens 2-2. Askelson 0-2 as she hit into a fielder's choice and flied out to right field so far in this game. Wind still blowing out a little bit towards left center. A little bit more breezy than the first game here of the day for Algona as the 2-2 pitch. And she missed down low for that one. Good take by Askelson, and the count goes full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Trunkhill with 6 strikeouts so far in this ball game. 3-2 pitch. And didn't mean to, but that was a check swing foul by Askelson. Pitch might have been a little bit upstairs, but that came in on her hands. And with the check swing, she fouled it off to the first base side. And we will have a 3-2 count once more with pitch number 7 of the at-bat next. Trunk Hill's payoff pitch. Sliced off foul to the first base side over the press box once again. And this will be pitch number 8 of the at-bat as Askelson serving as the leadoff hitter of this inning, doing exactly what you want. Trunk Hill already threw a couple of innings against Gilbert in the first game, pitching here in the 6th against Ogden, and they were trying to wear her down. Trunk Hill's 3-2. And down low for ball 4. Didn't miss by a lot, but it is down low, and the walk is issued as Askelson heads to first base. Ogden hoping that they can put some distance in between themselves and Algona and blow this open here in the 6th, that is, as a pinch runner will come on for Ogden. Sarah Seligman will head to first base. And I just realized here, looking at my scorebook, I think I've been calling Sophie Seligman Sarah. I've been mixing up the two of them so far today, but it is Sarah Seligman, number 4, pinch running here at first base. Sophie Seligman, the second baseman here for Ogden. But it'll be a runner at first, nobody out, as Matthews, the designated player who has struck out twice against Trunk Hill, stands in. They will get a new ball onto the field here for the home plate umpire. Ogden leading Algona by 3. Algona in danger of dropping their 3rd game in a row here after that dominant start to the season. And inside, and that one hit her. That one hit Matthews, and Trunk Hill's in a little bit of trouble here. Some uncharacteristic free passes with a walk and a hit by pitch. And it'll be first and second base for Ogden. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th. And you wonder if a bunt might be coming here from Cruz, who has struck out twice against Trunk Hill. There will be a conference in the circle for Dodds, talking things over with Trunk Hill as another runner will come in for Ogden. It'll be Sesker pinch running at first base. So it is Seligman at second, Sesker at first. And the Bulldog defense better gear up here and figure out what they want to do if a bunt is happening, as Ogden leads 5-2. Cruz standing in. Trunk Hill rocks. Cruz squaring. Cruz butts it foul behind home plate. And it's an 0-1 count. Dunning, the third baseman, charging way in, as Lentz, the shortstop, wheeling over there to cover the third base bag. And another opportunity here for Cruz to try to lay down the bunt of Ogden up 5-2. Trunk Hill will spin the ball in that right palm. She toes the rubber and brings the 0-1. And she pulls the bat back, and it's a wild pitch. Runners move up to second and third base, and no bunt needed anymore. Trunk Hill just sailed that one up high, and it'll be Seligman at third base. Runner at second base as well for Ogden will be Sesker. 1-1 count. And now Cruz can swing the bat here and try to punish Algona. The next pitch, there's a big cut in the miss as Trunk Hill reared back for some more velocity. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Algona Bulldogs back against the wall, down 5-2 here. Nobody out, and runners at second and third for Ogden. Corner infielders, a step in front of the bag. Middle infielders stay back at their normal depth. 1-2 pitch. Sail that upstairs for a ball as the count evens 2-2. Christensen on deck. Leonard in the hole for Ogden. As Algona looks like they're going to have to face the top of the order at some point here again. Trunk Hill ready. And the 2-2 pitch. And she missed downstairs. Good job by Dodds getting her glove underneath that one and preventing a wild pitch. But the count goes full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Second and third, nobody out for Ogden, trying to separate themselves from Algona. Trunk Hill for the 3-2. Called strike 3 over the outside corner. Cruz not in agreement, but Trunk Hill has punch out number 7 of the game and a big first out. But Algona far from out of the woods as Christensen steps in. Christensen singled her last time up. She is 1 for 2 so far today. And someone tough to strike out here. Ball in play is going to put a lot of pressure on the Algona defense to decide what to do and make a decision very quickly. Here's Trunk Hill's first pitch. Christensen trying to safety squeeze, but she fouled it back. At the last minute, she dropped the head of that bat just a little bit and popped it up foul behind home plate, back to the screen, as it'll be an 0-1 count. Well, now that the Bulldog defense has seen that, we'll see if Christensen wants to do the same thing again. I would imagine the answer to that question will be yes, but we will wait and see what the decision is here. Christensen takes a quick practice cut before stepping back in. Dusts her feet off in the box, and she stands back in with an 0-1 count and 1 out. Dunning extremely shallow at third base for Algona. The 0-1 pitch. Christensen not bunting, and she pops it up. Lentz, the shortstop, right in her normal position, will put it away for the out. Boy, is that huge for Algona. Christensen retired on the pop out after not getting the safety squeeze bunt down, and a chance to strand runners at second and third base. Back to the top of the order, though, for Aubrey Leonard, who flied out to center field her last time up. Leonard's been aboard once today via a hit by pitch. And we'll see if Trunkill can squeeze out of the straitjacket here and work out of this jam. First pitch to Leonard, and she missed off the plate. Ball one, 1-0 count. Drew up for Algona at the top of the seventh will be Reagan Haynes, Maya Lentz, and Ryan Haynes, so that's about as good of a scoring opportunity as any if you look at the Algona lineup. 1-0 count, the wind and the pitch. That is a rocket down the left field line. It's curving and it's fair. That one is going to roll into the corner as Ogden goes up 7-2. Big turnaround second base, but staying right there's Leonard. Oh, a back-breaking double right there. Bulldogs worked so hard to get the first two outs after there was second and third and nobody out, but a double right down the left field line, and it's the clutch two-out hitting once again for Ogden. They have opened it up. It is 7-2 here in the bottom of the sixth inning. Leonard, her first hit of the ball game, and a lot of those Ogden hits, they've gone to the pool side here. They are getting the hips around and ripping those hands through the strike zone against Trunkill. And 2 out runs, 3 2-out runs in the fifth, and a couple 2-out runs here in the sixth, as that is fouled off to the third base side. That is Sophia Seligman, who singled her last time up. Also reached by an error and popped up to second base. Like I said, we'll see if Algona rallies or not in the seventh, but this has been a day of plentiful opportunities for Algona that were not capitalized on, and you can say that for both games. Trunkill winds and delivers the 0-1. And maybe a little down, maybe a little bit out, as the count evens 1 ball and 1 strike. As we said, it'll be Haynes, Lentz, and Haynes, potentially Van Tiger in the next inning, if Algona is able to try to fight back in this one, but now down 7-2 with 5 unanswered runs from Ogden. And missing outside is Trunkill. It's a 2-1 count. Just past the 2 o'clock hour here on Hometown Radio KLGA Algona, 92.7 FM, and at the Algona Radio YouTube stream. The 2-1 pitch from Trunkill. Fouled off to the first base side. A little bit of a slice there from Seligman as Banks waits in the on-deck circle. Now a 2-2 count from Trunkill, who will try to stop the bleeding right here. The 2-out, 2-run double by Aubrey Leonard, making this a 7-2 game. As Ogden trying to win another one on their home diamond. The 2-2 pitch. Fly ball in the air towards center field. Van Tiger looking, drifting, and making the catch. Barely had to move a step or two right there, and that'll be out number 3 of the inning. But a 2-run double by Aubrey Leonard does a ton of damage. Algona now trailing 7-2 as we head to the top of the 7th. Last chance for the Bulldogs coming up next on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube live stream.
When you need cash on the go, there's no need to pay a surcharge fee with MoneyPass. Iowa State Bank is proud to be part of the MoneyPass network of surcharge-free ATMs found nationwide. Look for the green and blue MoneyPass symbol on over 32,000 ATMs across the nation. Or find an ATM near your vacation spot or travel destination at MoneyPass.com. MoneyPass, another way that Iowa State Bank helps people succeed. Member FDIC.
More Sports Club members.
Lusher Family Dentistry, serving your family since 1965 on Call Street in Algona.
Algona Plumbing and Heating, where a good flush beats a full house.
Kasuth Regional Health Center, your home for health care.
Walker Chiropractic and Wellness, caring for Algona, Sway City, and surrounding areas with chiropractic, nutritional, and physical therapy services.
Reeves Wicked Good Bar and Grill. For wicked good food, drinks, and service, you gotta go to Reeves.
High Point Land Company, your trusted land partner in Algona.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
Last chance time for Algona as we play in the top of the 7th. Reagan Haynes' first pitch swinging, fouling it back. And the count now 0-1 is back to work as Will Coxon for Ogden. Ogden with a 7-2 lead over Algona. Algona has left numerous opportunities on base so far in this game. Pitch to Haynes, and that is outside for a ball, 1-1 count. It seemed here in game 2 for Algona that Haynes has just been a little bit off balance so far today. Has not had the same level of comfort against Will Coxon as some of the other pitchers that she's seen earlier this season, as there's a swing and a miss at a pitch in the dirt. right to that point, and it's a 1-2 count. Just a little bit off kilter here, but trying to start the rally for Algona with 3, 4, and 5 in the batting order. Haynes, Lentz, and Haynes as Reagan Haynes up at the front of that right-handed box digs back in. 1-2 pitch, and she chased one in the dirt for strike 3. That was a frustration swing right there by Reagan Haynes for out number 1 of the inning. And that's one of those situations where you say as a hitter, I got myself out because those were 2 pitches out of the strike zone that were swung at, as that is out number 1 of the inning. Maya Lentz, who's 2 for 3 today, blasts that ball in the air towards center field. Going back on it is Winger, and it's overhead. 1 hop up against the fence. Lentz on her way to second base, and it's a 3-hit ball game for Maya Lentz. And 3 hard hit balls as well. Those were not cheapies. That was dead center field. 1 hop off the fence in front of that 2-10 sign as Winger took a step in and couldn't get back on it in time. 1 out base runner for Algona as Ryan Haynes, who singled her last time up, steps in. Lanny Van Tiger on deck. Will Coxon with the delivery and missed that one outside for a ball. 1-0 count. Outfield stays deep for Ogden. Their coach is saying, hey, don't worry about the runner at second. Let's just get it out if the ball gets put in play, as they have a 5-run lead to protect. Haynes with a line drive foul to the first base side, and Ryan Haynes quickly behind in the count. No balls and 2 strikes against Will Coxon, who continues to pump over the strikes. Just 3 walks so far for Will Coxon, 2 of them coming in the last inning, as Haynes climbs back into the right-handed box. The 0-2 delivery. Way upstairs for a ball. 1-2 count. But missed opportunities for Algona. We've talked about defensive miscues in the field. There was a caught stealing that short-circuited that promising 6th inning for Algona. And even plays that went for hits that probably could have been made by the Bulldogs. As that pitch is a called strike 3 to Haynes, or is it? I heard the home plate umpire bark something, but I think he said ball. That pitch was a bit upstairs, it appeared. All right, that was an emphatic ball call, so Haynes still has a chance here. 2-2 count. Will Coxon delivers. It skips in, and it goes to the backstop. Lentz will roll into third base, as that wild pitch will get away from the catcher Jansen and bring a full count here against Haynes. Ryan Haynes has gotten behind in the count a couple of times today, but to her credit, she's battled back into a couple of these 3-2 type of situations. The Algona senior back in. Will Coxon's payoff pitch. There's a soft line drive, shallow right field, and that one's down for a base hit. Maya Lentz comes home to score, and a long drawn-out battle is won by Ryan Haynes, just dumping a shallow base hit into right field. 7-3 now as Algona down by 4. RBI base hit for Ryan Haynes, and she's now 2 for 4 on this afternoon. Lentz coming home to score. Lanny Van Tiger 0 for 3 so far today. She'll try to keep things moving here for the Bulldogs and apply a little pressure on the top of the 7th inning. Ogden on top, 7-3. Runner at first, 1 away for Algona. Will Coxon's pitch, and she'll burn that one right over for a called strike, 0-1. Double play is potentially in order for Ogden. Leonard, the shortstop, in the same zip code as the second base bag. The second baseman, Sligman, near first. As there's a line drive down the third base line. Fair! It's fair down the left field line. Getting over there to cut it off is Christensen in left field, and the Bulldogs will just go station to station here. No need to make it out on the base paths. But Lanny Van Tiger rips one down the left field line, and it's first and second now for Algona. Fighting back a little bit here in the 7th. They are 1 batter away from bringing the tying run up. And it'll have to come from the bottom of the order here of Kinsey Tilgis now batting and Beljo Dunning due next. Tilgis reached on the air today. She is 0 for 3 as Tilgis takes that one down and away for a ball, 1-0 count. You wonder here if you're Tilgis, if you force Will Coxon to throw that first strike before you take a cut. We will have to see what the approach is with Algona down 7-3. 2 on for the Algona Bulldogs. Will Coxon's 1-0 pitch. Tilgis taking, and that is outside, 2-0 count. And I would be stunned here if we saw Tilgis swing before a strike is delivered now that she's ahead 2-0. Algona needs another base runner. They have to bring the tying run to the plate at some point this inning if they want to avoid losing a 3rd in a row. Will Coxon's 2-0. Tilgis swinging, rips to the third base. It's fielded by Banks. She steps, she throws. Double play! Double play, and the game is over. What a job by Banks at third base today, robbing the Bulldogs once again. And Algona's going to drop this one 7-3. A little rally there in the 7th comes up short as Tilgis hits a rocket down the third base line, but it'll go as a 5-3 double play. So the Algona Bulldogs drop this one. They will fall to 1-3 on the season. Ogden improving to 4-2. We will step aside, and then we'll wrap it up coming up after this on Hometown Radio KLGA and at the Algona Radio YouTube live stream.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
Signworks Inc. For all your signage needs and printed apparel, stop in or call 295-9544.
New Way K&H Co-op, delivering exceptional value through knowledge and innovation.
West Bend Ford, meeting your service, new and used vehicle needs.
Tom Eischen Sales, your store in the country, carrying Steel and Toro products and Green Mountain pellet grills.
PMC Advantage Insurance Services, insuring our neighbors for over 80 years.
All sponsors of this game broadcast. High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
American Glass. For all your glass needs, think American.
Farm Bureau Financial Agents Dave Beisch, Daniel Foth, and Michael Tull.
Chemco Tires. They're all you need to know about tires and service.
Wykert Realtors, the 515 Agency, a fresh approach to real estate.
Grassmasters. Growing satisfied customers.
Iowa Lakes Community College, your community, your college.
Glenn's Green Thumb. From a small seed, something beautiful will grow.
All bringing you this game on the radio.
For over 40 years, Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons have maintained one mission: to provide excellence in orthopedic care. Their team of 9 physicians offers specialized care in everything from arthroscopic same-day surgery to joint replacement, as well as hand and foot surgery, and have an orthopedic surgeon on call 24/7. Healthcare isn't about appointments, it's about taking care of people, and that's their specialty. Visit Northwest Iowa Bone, Joint, and Sports Surgeons on the web at nwiabone.com.
We've got more sports club members making this broadcast possible on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Algona Frame and Auto Body. We meet by accident.
Water Connection, from softeners to bottled water and service. Call 295-SOFT.
Algona Pizza Ranch. There's so much to love.
Cotton Grave Farm Management and Land Realty, downtown Algona. Trusted for farmland service needs since 1960.
Algona Livestock. Sales every Monday.
Countryside Barbecue Sauce. 2 sauces for all seasons.
All bringing you this broadcast on the radio.
Where you bank matters. Hi, I'm Sherry Bacon at Security State Bank, and we're relationship bankers. We get to know our customers and understand their financial needs. We're locally owned and operated, which means family, community, and service always comes first. So come to Security State Bank. We'll treat you like family. Security State Bank in Algona, Burt, and Laverne. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Security State Bank.
Thank you to these sports club members bringing you this game on Hometown and Home Country Radio.
Good Samaritan Society, Algona's senior housing and services rooted in God's love.
Feed Mill Coffee Company, Algona's locally owned coffee shop.
Tangle Salon for all your cuts, colors, hair extensions, and massage therapy needs.
Schindler Lawn Care and Landscaping, 515-320-3840.
All bringing you this ball game.
And we're back to wrap things up here in Ogden as the Algona Bulldogs fall in this one 7-3. And joining us here to recap the games is Algona senior Kayla Busher. Kayla, first of all, we saw you in the leadoff spot here today. I guess at what point did you find out that you were going to be in the leadoff spot? Did Coach Vio tell you about that, yesterday, or did you just find out this morning?
Nope, just found out this morning right when I got here.
Oh, we'll bring the mic down to you here, Kayla. When did you find out about hitting the leadoff spot?
Just this morning, right as you got here, sent out the lineup and saw that I was first.
Well, we saw a couple of beautiful bunt base hits for you today. Talk to me about working on that and, finally bringing it out in the game here.
Yeah, we've been working on that a lot this offseason. Off the machine, our first few hits, they're always bunts, laying them down, left, right, first, third. So, yeah.
What did you think about being in the leadoff spot? Because normally we kind of see you down in the middle of the order, so you've had a chance to scout the opposing pitcher a little bit more. But today you were the tone setter offensively for Algona and the first one to see the pitcher. So how did you feel about that change?
Gave me a little bit of confidence, that means he has faith in me. He knows I can get on base, so I think it helped me, I could help the rest of my teammates figure out where they're at, where they're throwing, what they're doing.
Well, a couple of losses today for Algona, but I think on the positive side, we saw the Bulldog offense really as a whole start to hit the ball a lot harder today, even though maybe the final run totals didn't indicate that. Can you just talk about where you feel you guys are at offensively right now, 1 through 9?
Yeah, offensively, we have a great lineup, 1 through 9. Everyone we know can hit the ball. It's just confidence that day, how it's going. But we know everyone can hit the ball, so.
Well, at a tournament like this, you get to see some teams you don't normally get to see, maybe some pitchers you don't normally get to see. Can you talk about it? You faced 3 pitchers today, 2 for Gilbert and 1 here for Ogden. So what kind of stuff did you see here today from them?
Everything was a little different. The different speeds, timing it was a little rough, switching between pitcher to pitcher, but figuring out what throws they have, if they got, like, how good their change is, fast, curve, all that stuff. So just timing is working on it.
Well, Kayla, part of the grind of the softball season is you can have a long road trip over to Iowa Falls Ogden last night and play a game late into the night. Then you come back here the next morning and make another long road trip to the Ogden tournament. What's that like for you guys going through that sort of routine?
Yeah, it's a little rough. We didn't get home until late last night, but up and at it again this morning. We love our team, so it's good to see each other every day, I guess.
Well, you head into a new week here. You'll play Pocahontas area Monday night and then back to NCC play against Humboldt on Wednesday night. I guess just talk to me a little bit about next week. A weekend like this is tough because you played competitively but didn't come out for the win. So, how motivated are you guys going into next week?
We're still confident. We're not going to let it affect us. We'll move on, learn from our errors, whatever, and move on, go get the next one. Conference plays big, so gotta go get them.
All right, Kayla, well, we appreciate you stopping by, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
That is Algona senior Kayla Busher here on Hometown Radio KLGA. We'll take another time out and get to the final stats after this on the Algona Radio YouTube stream.
High school sports on Hometown and Home Country Radio, brought to you by these fine sports club members.
Signworks Inc. For all your signage needs and printed apparel, stop in or call 295-9544.
New Way K&H Co-op, delivering exceptional value through knowledge and innovation.
West Bend Ford, meeting your service, new and used vehicle needs.
Tom Eischen Sales, your store in the country, carrying steel and Toro products and Green Mountain pellet grills.
PMC Advantage Insurance Services, insuring our neighbors for over 80 years.
All sponsors of this game broadcast.
We continue to wrap things up here from Ogden High School, where the Algona Bulldogs drop a pair of games today. They lose 6-5 in their first game against Gilbert and 7-3 in their second game against Ogden. Big thank you to Algona senior Kayla Busher for stopping by here. I know it's not a fun assignment to talk after you just lost 2 games, but Kayla was very gracious about it and looking ahead to next week, so we appreciate that. In any case, though, it is tough for the Bulldogs right now. They started off that season with that dominant win over Bishop Garrigan 20-2, but since that time, they have lost 3 games, and they are not far away from being 4-0, folks. These were 3 games of a lot of missed opportunities for Algona. We talked about it all throughout the game, and the final stats here in game number 2 will bear this out in the 7-3 loss. The final stat line for Ogden, they had 6 hits, 7 runs. They left 5 on base and committed 2 errors. Again, all stats unofficial, but my final count here in the scorebook. Algona today, they had 9 hits. They only scored 3 runs, and here was the killer stat. They left 10 runners on base. Yes, 10 runners on base, and as well as you hit, as many hard hit balls as there are, it is going to be hard to win a game where you leave that many runners aboard. The Algona Bulldogs also committed 1 error in this ball game, and frankly had a couple of other plays that could have been made but were not made, and that's the way the game goes. I mean, you look at Ogden, the final 5 runs they scored after the game was tied 2-2, all came with 2 outs. So these are innings where you're 1 play away, 1 pitch away from getting out of the inning, and the Bulldogs just didn't make those plays today, and that's high school softball. You're going to have some days where you're on the end where you do make the close plays and you win a close game, 3-2 or 4-3, something like that, and you'll have other days where you're on the end like the Bulldogs of Algona were on today, where it felt like they were 1 pitch away, 1 swing away from really a breakthrough in this game, but they never got what they needed, and they fall in this one by a final count of 7-3. Allison Trunkhill pitched very well in the second game. As she scattered 6 hits over her 6 innings pitched. She only walked 1 batter and struck out 7 by my count. She allowed those 7 runs, but I believe only 2 of those were earned, if even that. So Trunkhill really, she kind of took a bad luck loss again today, much like she did last night against Iowa Falls Ogden. She pitched a lot better than the final stat line would indicate, but unfortunately just a few miscues today for the Bulldogs will open the door here for Ogden to win this one. Meanwhile, for Ogden, they got a very good effort on the mound, in the circle, I should say, as well, from Katie Wilcoxon, their right-handed junior. Wilcoxon threw 7 innings. She walked 3 and struck out 5. She scattered the 9 hits, allowed 3 runs, only 1 of them earned, as Ogden's defense had a couple of miscues as well. But Wilcoxon did a great job. She did not panic when runners were on base. She really did a fantastic job of buckling down. The Bulldogs got runners on base, got a couple of big outs. Algona stranding those 10 runners, including they stranded runners on 2nd and 3rd in the 6th inning, which was probably their best chance to rally. And they also stranded a runner in that last inning when Kinsey Tilgis hit into that double play to end the game. And that, of course, was a play where you can't blame Tilgis. It was a hard-hit ball, rocket right to third base, but the fielder was in the right spot at the right time, and that's the way things go. So, like I said, I think this will go down as a weekend of missed opportunity for Algona, but games like this, at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't count for your conference standings, of course. It just counts for your overall record. So Algona can sharpen up. They can play some more North Central Conference games next week and really get into it after facing some good pitching and some good teams they don't normally see here today. Well, we appreciate everyone tuning in. We'll mention the fact that on Monday night we will have the Algona baseball doubleheader against Clear Lake. You can hear that on KLGZ 98.5 FM at AM 1600, with pregame beginning around 4:55. Game 2 of the doubleheader to follow. The next Algona Bulldogs softball game will be on Wednesday night as Algona takes on Humboldt in that one in the Battle of Highway 169, a 7:30 first pitch for that ball game. Big thank you to all of our video streaming sponsors on the Algona Radio YouTube channel and all our sports club members making this broadcast possible. This has been a sports production of Hometown Radio KLGA. Once again, your final score, Ogden 7 and Algona 3.